Can I have one chance tonight? God is good and God is good all the time. My name is Summer Jazz Spirit Divine. We give you a word on tonight. And the topic gonna be Peter, escape from prison. And this prayer is pretty much gonna be about prayer. You know, prayers are powerful and prayers work. You know, it come from Acts chapter 12, 1 through 19. You know, so it was about this time that King Harold had arrested some who belonged to the church, intended to persecute them. You know, so he hated that everyone was in groups. You know, always praying and worshiping God. You know, so he was like, you know, if everyone keep on praying, keep on preaching and teaching, you will be crucified. You know, so Herod who beheaded John and now had commanded himself to Jewish leader by protecting their religion, you know, injured himself further by arresting and beheading James, the brother of John. You know, so you know John head got cut off on a platter, and that's also with James' brother. You know, so they think about that. They're talking about doing it to James also, you know, and both of them was brothers. So he had James, the brother of John, you know, put to death with the sword. You know, so we see, you know, he eager to do James in because, you know, he is the brother of John and he already did it to John. So when he saw that this man, you know, with approval among the Jews, he proceeded to seize Peter also, you know. You know, so he wanted to do James. But then he seen Peter there, you know, preaching and talking to the people. So he like, I'm going to do Peter also. You know, so this happened during the festival of the unleavened bread. You know, so he wanted this to happen during the festival of unleavened bread to have a crucified Peter and James. You know, so after arresting him, he put him in prison, handing him over to be guarded by, you know, he put Peter in jail. You know, Peter is one of Jesus' disciples. You know, four soldier. He put Peter in jail and had these soldiers monitoring him. Herod intended to bring him out, you know, for public trial after the Passover. So after the Passover, that when he decided to take Peter out, you know, for prosecution in front of the public. So now they arrested Peter, all four soldiers, each who had the care of the prison. You know, each company is taking in turn one of the four watches of the night. So he had been watched. He being watched by soldiers. Now, so Peter was kept in prison, you know, but the church was eager, you know, to pray, you know, pray to God for him, you know, because Peter already was preaching and teaching to the people. So when they arrest Peter, you know, they were eager to keep on praying for Peter, you know, for the end up to God, you know. So that's the first thing you do, you know, in a situation, you know, you pray. You know, while Peter was in church, the members had started praying. You know, and we're going to see how prayers work. You know, we're going to see how prayers work. You know, so Herod had Peter arrested during the Passover celebration. Now, this was a strategy move because more Jews was in the city, you know, than usually. So Herod could impress a good number of people. Now, he wants to do this for the public. You know, so that's why Peter said they have enough Jews out there for, you know, for him to do the little public thing that he wants to do. So Herod had planned to execute Peter just like he did James, you know, but the believer was praying for Peter. Now they got believers that in their church, you know, that who Peter was praying when they're preaching to, you know, they're a believer of God. You know, they believe in prayer. This practice about prayer. You know, that prayer worked. You know, believer was praying for Peter's safety. You know, prayers of the church affected the outcome of this event. Now we don't understand how prayers work, but the Lord respond, to the believer, prayers and sent an angel to release Peter from prison. You know, so the night before Herod was to bring him to trial. The trial was next day to execute Peter. You know, but Peter was sleeping between the two soldiers. You know, remember he had four of them and bound with two chains. And the soldier had stood at the guard at the entrance. You know, not suddenly. You know, so suddenly, you know, the prayers had went up to God. So suddenly an angel of the Lord had appeared, you know, in a light stone in a cell. Now he struck Peter. Remember, Peter was asleep. Peter was asleep. You know, so the angel had to strike him, you know, on the side for him to wake up. Wake up. Quick, get up. You know, so God had sent him there. You know, so God had, the angel had told him, we need you to get up. You know, he said, get up. And so once he was getting up, the chain started falling off. The chain started falling off. You see how prayers work. You know, the door started open, the chain started coming off. You know, so God had sent his angels to rescue Peter. Now the angels of God measured him. They are a divine creature that being with supernatural power. And they sometimes take on a human appearance to order to talk to people. You know, so angels should not be worshiping because they are not divine. You know, that we see that prayers work. We see that prayers work, you know, for Peter. Now, Peter had prayed also in a cell. And people with the church, you know, the member of the church prayed, you know, they were praying to God. And we see that God came to his rescue and sent an angel. You know, so then the angel had said to him, you know, so the angel had to strike him for him to wake up. You know, wake up. Now the angel telling him to wake up. The angel telling him, put your clothes on. Put your sandals on. You know, and Peter did so. Wrap your coat around you and follow me. The angel told him to follow him. You know, so as he was raising up, the chains just started falling off by itself. Just started coming off. Now Peter had followed him out of the prison. You know, but he had no idea. You know, see, you know, the angel had to wake him up. So most likely he was still like half asleep. You know, he had no idea what the angel was doing or what really was happening. You know, so he thought he was just seeing the vision. You know, he following the angel. You know, but he still half asleep. He thinking he's seen a vision. You know, now Peter had been sleeping in prison. His execution is scheduled for the next day, and James was already beheaded. They already had took James' head off, you know, and so the next day they was waiting to do the same thing to Peter, you know. So when an angel awakened him, and his chain just stopped falling off, and Peter is likely doesn't. And yes, in fact, you know, he think it's a vision. He still think he half asleep. You know, he think it's a vision. He think he's asleep. Now, this time the angel had to tell him exactly what to do because he still was half asleep. He still was in dazing. You know, so the angel had to tell him what to do. The angel had said, "You're gonna dress to fight, dress for fight. You know, dress for action. You know, so he had to be ready." The angel told him to be ready, and when he saw the angel, he telling him to get up. You know, the whole time he thought it was a vision, and he didn't realize it would actually happen. He you know, he just thought, you know, he was just seeing a vision. He was just in daze. You know, he actually see that it was happening. You know, once he started getting outside the cell. You know, so they passed by the first and second guard. You know, they came to the iron gate. You know, leading to the city. You know, so it opened for them by itself. You know, so as he walking, gates just start opening up, chains falling off. You know, the guard did not see him go out there. You know, so as he just walking, everything just start opening up. Gates start opening up. You know, and so it opened for them by itself. And when they went through it, and when they walked the length of one street, so when he got out the prison. Soon as he got across the street, when he turned around, suddenly the angels had left. You know, because the Jerusalem was resounded by three walls. Remember, their walls were thick and tall. You know, so they're passing through the gates of these three walls, you know, successfully. And while Peter was sleeping, between the soldiers, bound with the two chains. He stood the guard at the entrance. Suddenly, an angel of the Lord had appeared to him, a light stone in a cell, and he struck Peter on the side, woke him up. So now there were soldiers guarding Peter. Supposed to be guarding Peter, so Peter guarded by soldiers. But when God, no matter how many soldiers that you have, but God, when God has sent the angels, the chains just start falling off. The gates just start opening up by itself. So when the angel guard him outside the gate, then the angel job was done. That's why he turned around, the angel was gone. Soon he got caught in the tree. So the angel job was to get him out of this jail cell. Get him out of the jail cell. Once he got across the street, the angel job was done. That's why he turned around, the angel was gone. He had so many soldiers minded to him, but that doesn't matter, because when God got involved, God sent the angel. When he stood up, the chains fall off. When he started walking, the gates start opening up by itself. No matter how many soldiers he have, the power, the power that God have, the chains just start coming out. So then Peter came to himself and said, once he got out, he saw the angel was gone. So as he walked, he noticed, that it was God that rescued me. It was God that saved me. Saved me from being executed the next day. So he noticed it was God. Now he said, now God has sent an angel and rescued me from Herod, clutches, and from everything the Jewish people was hoping would happen for him to be free. So they prayed for this day to happen, for Peter to escape. So they see that God came through for him, that God had heard their prayers. So when this had dawned on him, he went to the house of Mary. Now you think you'll think when left the jailhouse, you think he'll go and try to hide somewhere. But he went to the house of Mary, John's mother, also called Mo. So what many people had gathered was praying. All the people was gathering there. They all was praying for Peter. So when Peter was free, he went straight by John's mother's house, and when he arrived there, they all was praying. So an angel had just rescued Peter from prison a moment before Herod had planned, to have him escorted to execution. Instead of Peter, go into hiding, anybody come out of jail, escape from jail, they going hide. But he going and let people know, let his friends know, that he is okay. He out of prison, but he wanted the church to know he was okay. Now he goes to the home of Mary, the mother of John. We see the power of prayers. That's why I said, everyone has to pray. You have to pray all day long. Just like yesterday, I was putting out that Daniel was praying 3 times a day. And it came in handy, because when they throw him in that lion's den, them prayers went up to God, and God sent his angels again and got him out of that lion's den. So we see that prayers work again. Prayers are powerful. You had a member, members that came together and they was praying. We see the power of praying that reached up to heaven, where God sent his angel to rescue Peter. So Peter, so now he at the door. He at the door. Now everyone think he in jail. Everyone is praying for him. But he at the front door and he is knocking. He is knocking at the entrance. But John's mother, Mary, have a servant named Rhonda, came to answer the door. Now she came to answer the door, but when she recognized Peter's voice, she was so overjoyed, and she ran back without opening the door and explaining and claiming that Peter's at the door. See, all they know right now is that Peter's in jail, you know. And so she got a servant that answered the door. I mean, it said, at the door, answering the door, but she did not open the door. She was so overjoyed, and so she had to run to the back and tell everyone that's Peter at the door, Peter at the door. So the servant around her now, they knew that Peter was in prison. So when he knocking, at the door, she full of joy, but still did not open the door. She just saying, yelling, Peter is at the door. So you out of, so they came to the door. Cause she's screaming how the Peter's at the door. So when they came and said, you are out of your mind. They told her, when she kept insisting that it was so, that she said it must be an angel. So she started telling Peter at the door. So all they know that Peter's in jail. Now she didn't want to believe that Peter was at the door. They thought he was an angel. So now they still not open the door, and all they know that Peter is in jail. But Peter kept on knocking. They ain't there trying to decide if that's an angel or not. But Peter is still knocking. And when they opened the door, they saw him and they were astonished. Because they up there praying for him and he at the door. So once Peter was free, he went to many houses to let his friends, know that he is safe. So Mary's servant Rhonda was so excited to see Peter, so she left him outside of the gate and rushed to tell everyone else that Peter was at the door. Now they assumed Rhonda was mistaken, and they thought it must be Peter, guardian angel. Now Peter mentioned with his hand, he did the motion with his hand for them to be quiet. He wanted them to be quiet. So now he excited also in astonished because, he wanted them to be quiet so he can describe to them how he got out of prison. Because everybody's talking. Everybody was excited to see Peter. So tell James and the other, brothers and sisters about this. So he said, then let them, left for another place. So you see, Peter had ministry that's on a run. Man, I talk about the two situations with the church dealing with Peter. So his ministry always on the run. He here 1 minute and he gone to another city. So he just wanted Peter and he just wanted the two brothers to know that he is okay, that he is out. So James is here. James is Jesus' half brother. Now he led the church in Jerusalem, and James rejected the idea his brother was a Messiah before his death. Now remember, Jesus had went home for a while. And they discredited him, and did not honor him when he came home. And so James is one of them. James is half brother. Did not congratulate him at all. They did not believe in Jesus until he died and came back on the third day. So he raised it from the dead. That's when he believed his brother. So James led a church. That's why, they all was with him praying. So Peter had said, let him know that I was okay. So in the morning, there was no small commotion among the soldiers as to what had become of Peter. The next day, they were supposed to execute Peter. So there was no Peter. So after Peter escaped, Herod had cross-examined all the guards, all their execution. So they were supposed to protect Peter, and Peter is gone. So now they crossroads, and everyone asking what happened. So they're going to order an execution for the guards. So in that day, if a guard permit a prisoner to escape, Roman law requires that he receive the same punishment that the prisoner would have received. So now, since the soldiers, did not protect, did not watch for Peter to be in there, so they're going to be executed for allowing Peter to escape. So now the next morning, Peter was supposed to be executed, but when they went to Peter, Peter was gone. Went to his cell, Peter was gone. So he started cross-examining everyone. So after Herod had thoroughly searched and made for him and did not find him, he cross-examined the guards and ordered that they be executed. So he gonna execute all the guards that was supposed to be watching Peter. See, they don't understand. They really don't understand. They really don't understand the power of prayer. They want to execute Peter for no reason because he was teaching people in the church. All the people in the church came together in prayer. And Peter in his cell also was praying. We see that prayers work. We see that prayers is powerful. This practice teaches us about prayers. No matter what situation it is, you get there and start praying and watch how your situation will turn around. I understand I'm still in my zone and I'm also still praying also. It's a lot of other stuff that still is going on, but prayers is very powerful and prayers do work. This practice teaches us about no matter what the situation is. You can start praying. They were still praying for Peter when Peter was at the front door. You see how the prayers had went up to God and went up to God quick. Sometimes your prayers get answered quick and sometimes it don't.